When the earth is ravaged and animals are dying, a new tribe of people will come onto the earth from many colors, creeds, classes, and who by their action shall make the earth green again.
Then I'll teach people the secret ways, plant saving, how to talk to the trees, how to honor the plants.
Om Hrim Aham Namah Kshim Swaha. Om Aim Klim Sohu Sohu Klim Aim.
G'day, gorgeous, groovy, galactic gardening guardians of the earth. Today's subject is on guerrilla gardening, one of my favorite topics and something I've been doing for many years. I used to be into street art. I'd make posters and glue them around the city of Melbourne, in public spaces, in alleyways, wherever. But once I heard about guerrilla gardening, it was a natural progression for me to combine my love of plants and my love of street art into becoming a guerrilla gardener. So just as a street artist fills public spaces with free art, guerrilla gardeners fill public spaces with free plants. And I'd love to make a follow-up video on this showing the trees I've already guerrilla gardened around Melbourne years ago. Next time I pop up to Melbourne, I'll have to remember to take a little bit of footage of those trees. Like I mentioned, moving from street art into guerrilla gardening for me is basically just doing the same thing. I've just traded the posters and spray paint for plants. There's still the same challenge of getting it done secretly without getting caught, but I find the public and the law are more forgiving, sometimes even supportive of guerrilla gardeners, where as a street artist, I found way more hostility directed towards me if I was caught or busted putting up a poster or spray painting. And I even had a few run-ins with the police doing street art. Also, guerrilla gardening, just like street art, you're really leaving your work exposed, unprotected, and in the hands of fate. So you have to be prepared for that emotionally. If you plant in public spaces, anything could happen to the plants. People could disrespect them, or the local council or government workers could pull them out. Just like they could easily paint over a street artist's mural if they see fit. So keep in mind what you do outside of your government-designated personal space is a gamble, but that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? It also means that we have to think really carefully about what to plant where. First, you must identify an area that's appropriate for guerrilla gardening, a space that could use some plant life. Then choose what plant is going to thrive there with little to no care. Also, you have to think about the long term as well. How big does the plant grow? How long does it live? Is it appropriate for this plant to be here for its lifespan? Also, is the plant safe? Is it a noxious weed? Is it poisonous? Are there children around that area? Are there animals? There's all that to take into consideration, which is a fun game to find that right plant for that right location that's just gonna look amazing and have a happy life. Also, because of the gamble of guerrilla gardening, you probably want to source your guerrilla gardening plants for free. And you can really get artistic in how you source your plants, how you get your plants, and how you plant your plants out, and the overall effect you're going for, the artistic effect. How is this plant going to look in this environment, add to this environment? Just like an artist would when planning a public artistic piece. So there are heaps of ways to get plants going. You could simply just plant out succulent cuttings, and most succulents will just take root and take care of themselves. without any work. You could also gather free seeds, pack them into a ball of mud, make seed bombs, throw them around the place. You could simply just sprinkle seed around. What I've been doing for about 7 years now is growing on the seeds from the stone fruit that I eat. It does take a long time to get the seed going, but it's super easy. The fruit trees sprout and just grow in the background in my garden. Sometimes I water them if it's really hot, and then I plant them out when they're ready, usually a year after planting the seed. But in Melbourne, when I was just starting, I would just plant the seed where I wanted the tree to grow, and a few sprouted up and survived through their seedling stage and became fruit trees. The stone fruits I've been planting out are nectarines, peaches, apricots, plums, avocados. After I eat the fruit, I simply plant the seeds straight in the ground, or if I'm eating a lot of fruit and haven't got time to make up a pot of earth or somewhere to plant them, I'll only store them for about a week. I don't want that kernel inside that stone fruit seed to dry out. I want it to go straight into the moist soil, and I want that hard shell to start breaking down on its own. So I plant the stone fruit seeds basically straight away. And then I just leave the seed sit in the soil all through autumn, winter, and it just pops up naturally in spring, so strong and so happy. These stone fruit seedlings that sprout up from the fruit I eat, I'm just amazed at their strength. These are strong little plants that have put up with a lot of neglect from me, and they just keep growing and getting bigger. Even if I forget about them for weeks through the hot weather, they're just surviving off the rain. So this is the last of many batches that I made last summer. Now I'm potting them up into individual pots, and when their roots fill out the pot, I can use them for the next guerrilla gardening project. And now this is a batch that I potted up way earlier, and you can see how much they've grown since they've had their own big individual pots to grow in. I have peaches, nectarines, avocados, apricots, plums, even a few chestnuts and a few special trees as well. I'm going to plant them around a popular swimming location in my area, and hopefully in around 2 to 3 years they'll start bearing fruit for the community to eat for free. And this is just one load. I've easily planted out over 100 fruit and nut trees this year. And we've had really good rainfall, so there's a good chance a lot of these trees that I've been planting are gonna survive and fill our area with beautiful trees, flowers, and fruit. You may find it surprising that guerrilla gardening falls into the eco-permaculture and divine mimicry movement. It's actually acting in our divine nature when we're guerrilla gardening, as Mother Earth, as Cosmic Mother Universe intended us to. The reason some plants produce their fruit, it's not only to feed us, but also in the hope that we take the seed to a new location where it can grow. All other beings on this earth who eat these fruits play this role of spreading the seed. In this web of natural life, this act is tied into the law of nature as nature itself. So by planting on, by spreading the seed, by guerrilla gardening, we are acting as nature, as our true natural divine selves, mimicking nature, divine mimicry. And there are more than enough fruit seeds going to waste, and more than enough empty spaces for us to plant them in to provide the world with free fruit. My grandmother Maria is from Istra, Croatia, and she always told me about her village, Juriki, and their cherry orchard that supplied the whole town with cherries. It was just there for everyone. You didn't have to think about it, and the fruit trees were cared for and maintained by the villagers. So instead of buying fruit, they would just walk to the village orchard and pick what they needed. It's so logical. And I know some areas of the world aren't good for growing fruit trees in, but most areas, especially seasonal areas, these fruit trees are honestly so strong and they're more than happy to grow on their own in most conditions. Guerrilla gardening, falling back into alignment with Mother Nature, becoming nature itself, becoming ourselves, and doing what we see working in the natural world and then applying that to our lives while providing free organic fruit for your community and yourself, and being artistic and just having fun, especially if you're guerrilla gardening with friends or even just street arting with friends. It's fun to run around and be cheeky and improve your environment yourself. And why should we have to wait for approval to do good things for our environment, to plant the plants we need that we could have around us? Even though it's kind of an act of anarchy, it's also an act of community. I also like to find rare plants, local plants in the bush around me, and gather their seeds and grow them on, and then take my little 3 and 4-year-old nieces into the bush and plant the seedlings back into the bush. It's a really fun activity. I think it's illegal to take the seeds, but I'm growing way more seeds than are sprouting naturally out there, and these plants are becoming endangered because of clearing and also because of our insane bushfires here in Victoria, Australia. Also feral animals like rabbits eating the seedlings as they sprout. So I can see year after year certain trees are throwing down thousands of seeds and none are growing because of the conditions. So I'm able to take a handful of seeds and grow 100 baby trees and plant them in the areas where those trees have been burnt out and no longer exist. And yes, it's illegal, and yes, it's very anarchist, but I know I'm doing a good thing, and I'm happy to stand up for my right to do good things in my area on my own accord without approval. And I think that's the kind of whole essence of guerrilla gardening. You can channel that inner anarchist inside you and accomplish something beautiful and good for the environment while bucking the system. Well, I'll wrap things up there. Thanks for watching this short video on guerrilla gardening. Have fun, everyone.